Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity and the many others. My name is Patricie Uwase, and I'd like to...
What is that one now?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes. I'd like to ask two quick questions. My first one is, if you look back, you set the bar really high for all of us. What advice would you give to a 30-year-old self?
30?
30-year-old self. If you looked at yourself when you were 30 years, what advice would you give yourself now looking back? My second question is...
That's a difficult one, but ask the second while I'm thinking about the first.
Sure. I didn't mean to make it difficult. My second one is, if you were, as an inspiration to all of us, if you were to highlight 3 critical issues for Rwanda, which are those? Thank you.
This is a very hard exam paper, which I have to... You know, for 30-year-old self, I seem to have been doing more than I asked for. I found I was doing what I had been wanting to do all along, but in a very difficult circumstance. But why not? Maybe even all of us here, we find ourselves in one struggle or another about the problems we talked about earlier of improving ourselves. So I gave myself an advice, actually before 30, when I was 20. So at 30, I was doing something that I started thinking about when I was 20. And it was getting more difficult, but over time from 20 to 30, but I think I couldn't have found anything better to do than what I was doing. As for the 3 things, I think for Rwanda, one, there is where we are coming from. There is the history. But we are a nation, we are who we are, we've been there anyway, so the best thing is for all of us to keep focused on what can improve us as we are, and never think of being somebody else. Think about being yourself, meaning as a nation, as Rwandese, and how do we improve ourselves? I think the number of things I talked about earlier are in the direction of making us the Rwandans we should and want to be. So it's what I said, I think, is more than just 3 points. So just pick any 3 you want from what I said.
Twakira ikindi kibazo hano hasi kuri floor. Shutanga mikro.
Mwiriweho, nagira ngo mbashimire Perezida. Ikintu nagira ngo mvuge nago ari ikibazo, ahubwo ni opportunity. Mbona benshi muri twe tutakoresha. Nitwa Karangwa Oscar. Ikintu nabonye misi ishize nagenze muri Rwanda, ijya muri bino bihugu biri hanze muri Afrika de l'Ouest na za Guinée za hehe. Ariko iyo wagezeho barakubwira ati abanyarwanda, uyu mutekereje umunyarwanda bavuga ati uvukana education ingana nk'imyaka 6 kubera ubushobozi mwabashije kugeraho. Ese hari uburyo mwabasha kugira ngo dukorane natwe nk'abanyafrika twiteze imbere? Nibwo ikintu nashaka kubabwira nuko hari ibihugu bindi, ibi bihugu bya East Africa,
yes, nabyumvise,
Rwanda ibasha kugeramo,
yes,
bifite n'ambasaderi yacu hariya. Kuki na buryo wenda youth ibasha guhura n'abahariya kugira ngo babashe kugeraho ibyo twe twabashe kugeraho, natwe tukabyungukiramo ku cyo gihe nawe ukoze investment nk'umunyarwanda, kuko bashaka gukorana n'abanyarwanda bikabije.
Yes, ariko niba nibuka neza hari ahantu nasomye cyangwa hari n'ibyo numvise bivugwa, hari nk'abantu b'abanyarwanda ngira ngo hari an application
menya ari PSF
niho bakoze, numva ngo yageze Cameroon, yageze si ibyo ngibyo ushaka.
Oya, abo ni PSF. Nyine ikintu ndi gushaka, ikintu nifuzaga Your Excellency, nifuzaga ko nk'umunyarwanda uvuye hano ashaka gukora akorera, avuye naho afite ibyo akora naho ashaka no kujya hanze ngo akore. Ikintu tugora cyane iyo ugeze hariya ambasade, kuba assistant ngo ambasade gufashe muri iyo zone, nicyo nashaka gusaba cyane.
Ariko
wenda mbivuze nawe mubone,
ariko
ndabyishe,
ntabwo ari ukubivuga nabi, ahubwo ni igitekerezo ubwacyo. Kuko nari maze kukubwira umuntu wakoze ikintu hano akagitwara muri Cameroon, ntabwo yakeneye ambasade, yaragiye arabikora kubera bitewe n'icyo yakoraga icyo ari cyo. Rero na ambasade nubwo nakwifuza kwifasha abanyarwanda muri ubwo buryo bwo gukorera hanze, ntimutekereze ambasade cyane. Ambasade ibafasha mu bindi, bagufatiye ku airport, bavuze ngo winjiye nta visa ufite, icyo gihe igatabara. Ariko icyo ugiye gukora ni icyawe, gikore ku buryo kijya hariya kikakubyarira inyungu, utagumye no kunyura muri ambasade.
Wenda kugira ngo mbi making more clear, ikintu nasabaga cyane nuko hari abariyo, hari abandi bariyo bashaka, abandi banyafrika wenda reka mbite gutya, bari kutureberaho urugero, noneho bo bakavuga bati hari uburyo mushobora kwiorganiza, mufite Rwanda. Noneho iyo mubwiye ko iyo kubwiye Rwanda kumvisha aho mwageze, ati byibuze bazajye bahereza nk'imyanya 3 kuri youth, baze twebwe muri ambasade tuvuge tuti tugiye muri ni idea wenda
functioning y'ubwo buryo, ubwo buryo bw'imikorere ya economies. Uburyo dusigaye economy, uburyo ikora, uburyo igihugu isi ikora birenze ibyo ngibyo.
Yes,
abantu barikoresha, baragenda. Icyo ambasade ishinzwe cyangwa icyo leta ishinzwe ni ugushyiraho environment ituma umuntu yikorera ibyo ashatse. Ntabwo ngomba kujya kugutegurira inzira cyangwa iki. Abakora business, entrepreneurs, cyangwa ambasade icyo nayisaba wenda no gukora research, akavuga ngo ahangaha dushinzwe hari opportunities zimeze zirya, nkaziboherereza. Uko ujyayo, aho uzagirayo birakureba. Cyangwa ntuzategereze iyo ugiye kubigira bureaucratic ngo ambasade iranda itwara umuntu muyobore iyo ikuvanira road blocks mu nzira zindi ishinzwe, niba ari visa, niba ari umubano mwiza kugira ngo igihe umunyarwanda ariyo yo kugira ibibazo, cyangwa se ababishinzwe bandi bo mu gihugu bakamenyekanisha opportunities ziri hano, na ambasade gihari hariya cyangwa embassy gihari imenyekanisha opportunities ziri mu gihugu, ab'icyo gihugu arimo bakaba baza mu Rwanda. ariko ntabwo akwiriye gukora ibindi birenze ibyo ngibyo. Sinzi niba
wenda mumbawe ndabyemeye cyane ariko murakoze cyane.
reka twakire ibindi bibazo.
Wenda nuko ari
reka twumve reka
wenda mumbawe
okay, reka tumuhe
benefit
benefit of the doubt to
ikintu buriya nari nshatse kuvuga ni uko twavuze abakuru urubyiruko rutabona akazi noneho bagafokasinga mu Rwanda cyane. Icyo kintu nicyo nashaka wenda kubwira na ministre ni biba byiza murebye abroad Rwanda, since we have a way of getting there.
Erega buriya uwabuze akazi hano kugatwara ahandi biragora kurusha.
Thank you so much. My name is Israel, and I lead the national implementation team of Zipline. Before I ask my question, I think I should thank you on behalf of the Rwandans who work for Zipline for making these connections, where we are the first team to do what we do in the world. Thank you so much for the connections you did to bring Zipline here in Rwanda. We had hoped to achieve middle income by 2020, and it's 2 years from now, and we postponed it to around 2035. Where do you think?
We didn't postpone it. It's another phase.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
So where do you think we...
Let's say to 2020, or by 2020, maybe we shall have, let me use a random figure, we shall have obtained 80% of what we wanted. Not everything, but a big chunk of it, right? Yeah. So what we did was to say by 2020, wherever we will be, or with that 80%, we have another phase, right? You see? Mm-hmm. So we have now another phase to go through another plan, so that we address those things that were not addressed in the 2020 vision, as well as add new ones that are needed as of that period, right?
Yeah. My last is, what do you think, your thoughts on the fact that the industries and the private sector grow so big?
What?
The industries and the private sector,
yes.
They grow so big, and they might grow dangerously big to create disparity between rich and poor and control access to health, education, and that's what's happening in the developed world. I would like to hear your thoughts on that as we build a development model for Rwanda. And the last one is maybe building up on what Pauline said, what is your continuous learning routine currently to stay on top of the game wherever you go and all audiences you speak to? Thank you.
Okay. In fact, for the growth, on one hand, and then the disparity or the inequality that you are talking about, which is always a danger everywhere you go. Inequality is rampant across the world, but we have to deal with our own inequality. We don't deal with the rest of the world. We have no possibility, and in any case, it's not right to talk about or deal with other cases other than our own. But our model is like, you see, if we have people who are at the upper echelon in terms of the well-being, they are here. Then the others are here, and there is this gap we are talking about. Our intention, what we do, is always to try and bring these ones at the bottom up, right? The best way to bring those at the bottom up is not to tell those who are up here that they should stop and wait for these ones. We don't do that. We want everybody to realize development, growth in what they are doing. But we are conscious of the fact that the majority of our people are still down there. These are the ones we concentrate on. These are the investments we make. When I was talking about the investments in education, in health, in agriculture, in infrastructure, and then participation. We are actually trying to make sure that those ones at the bottom can come up as fast as possible. If you look at our vision and all the plans for the country, we concentrate on our people generally. How is their well-being? What is the improvement? What is the rate of improvement? How fast can we take it forward? Because if you look at where we started from in our Vision 2020, when we started, where we were, even by looking at the GDP per capita, we are so low. Today, we are about 5 times that, even with an increase in the population. So that means something is happening. It's not, and our growth, the growth you have registered over many years, isn't a growth just of numbers. It is actually a growth that has been changing lives of the majority of our people. This is what statistics show us. Yes. You know, just to take one example, you are aware of the Jirinha program. Between 2006 and 2011, all indicators show that we moved people out of poverty to a tune of 1 million of our population. 1 million in this period. This is what the numbers show. The numbers are not telling us lies. But later on, this is what our own people are telling us. Or this is what we see, that people's lives. Do we still have poor people who need to be attended to? Absolutely. They are there. It would not be accurate to say that things have changed for everybody at once. But if you look at the numbers of people whose lives are changing for the better, we probably couldn't have done better than that. So that is what is going on. You said something else? What was it? Quickly, I will hear.
Continuous learning routine.
I mean, it happens without me even noticing. Yes, we keep learning because there is not a single day personally or as a government, there is no day that passes without us being challenged to solve one problem or the other. And in trying to address the problems, we've learned from the past, and we are trying to apply new solutions to the problems. So it's always going to be a continuous learning process. It never stops. And sometimes you may not realize that you are actually learning.
Kirango mutwemere twakira ikibazo hara hejuru.
It's up to you.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Amazina yanjye nitwa Iradukunda Eugenie.
Where?
Ndi hano.
This side.
Okay. Amazina yanjye nitwa Iradukunda Eugenie. Ndi umunyamabanga w'inama y'igihugu y'urubyiruko mu karere ka Kayonza. Icyambere ngira ngo mvugeho cyangwa ntange igitekerezo, ndagaruka ku kiganiro twabonye kare aho nyakubahwa chairman w'itorero ry'igihugu yagarutse ku muco ari umutima w'igihugu. ndabihuza na investment. Ndifuza ko ubukerarugendo bushingiye ku muco bwashyirwamo imbaraga, kuko umuco wacu uraryoshye cyane, ubwacu uraturyoheye ndetse n'abanyamahanga. Ndagira ngo ngaruke kuri uwo muco nsobanure nk'ibikorwa byashyirwa mu bukerarugendo, harimo nk'ibijyanye kotsa runonko, ibirunge, kwenga, gusya, ni byinshi. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, kuboha imisambi, kuyungurura, ni ibintu byinshi bifatika aho abakerarugendo baza bagakora ubukerarugendo ariko buri pratique.
None kuki mutabivanamo amafaranga? Why don't you do business with that?
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika,
niwotsa runonko nzakubera umukiriya.
Murakoze. Murakoze Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, ndabashimye cyane kuko icyo gitekerezo nari maze iminsi ngifite, ariko ndabashimiye ko mumbereye abafatanyabikorwa.
Murakoze.
Wetangira gusa.
Ikindi ngarukaho ku kijyanye n'umuco nari ntararangiza, nk'urubyiruko hari igihe twifuza kumenya ibijyanye n'umuco, urugero gucuranga inanga, umuduri n'ibindi, ariko tukabura ikigo kibyigisha umuntu yabyigiramo. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, mu gihe hariho guteza imbere impano z'urubyiruko, turifuza yuko umuziki nyarwanda wakomeza gutera imbere, ariko ndagira ngo nsabe, hari abahanga binararibonye, icyo kigo kibeho cyafasha urubyiruko rwifuza gukora ibyo bintu.
Wategereje iki? Kuki utagiye ubwire Minisita ushinzwe iby'umuco umusange?
Uyu ni umwanya mwiza Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Murakoze, ndabashimye.
Ntabwo warategereje uyu mwanya mwiza, baramubwiye noneho muri uyu mwanya mwiza tukavuga ibimaze kugerwaho, sibyo?
Murakoze.
Ariko bikomereza aho ngaho, uzamubwire mumufashe no gukora plani y'ibyakorwa.
Murakoze. Twemere twakwakira ikindi kibazo.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Junior Kanamugere. I'm an entrepreneur here in Rwanda. I have founded a company called Pikiwash. I have a question and an ask. I need you to help me with something. As an entrepreneur,
You need to what?
I want to ask you to help me with something.
You need okay, Pikiwash.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My question is English spoken literacy is one of the biggest challenges we find in the workplace. My question was, what are we doing as a country, or what can we do better to improve our youth that coming out of universities with very poor English spoken skills that hinge
That
them?
one we have talked about so many times. The Minister of Education is here, arabyumva. Ariko n'ikinyarwanda gifite ikibazo byose.
Nakivugaho gakeya, ariko for sake of clarity, I chose English as a language.
So hagati ya Ministry of Education na Culture bakwiriye kudufasha mu by'uburezi. Indimi ziragoye cyane, ariko se kuvuga icyongereza gusa ko n'igifaransa iyo nyumva kiba atari cyiza, ubwo nanjye njya numva abantu bavuga igifaransa nkasanga ndakurikira nkamenya ko hagomba kuba harimo ibibazo.
Je peux parler français aussi si vous préférez. My ask to you, sir, as an entrepreneur, there's been a lot of over-romanticizing business. A lot of people tell young people to get into business without really making them understanding how much skills and how much experience it requires. My ask to you, Mr. President, if you may help, is try and encourage the youth here.
Is what?
Encourage the youth to try and get more skills and experience before getting into business, because it's really, really difficult. As somebody who's done business for many years, please help me pass on this message.
Yeah, I think the message is clear. It is loud and clear. And you remember what we told the lady there who said she tried even to help train people, and they are not coming. So the problem is a serious one, and I guess we made it clear that the young people need really to up their game in improving themselves, in getting skills, in getting a better understanding. That will allow you to be in the business market and play better there than if you just thought you just go and do business. You just don't go into business. It doesn't work for you. That is very clear.
One last, if I may, Your Excellency.
Yes?
Can you share with the youth here, how do you have the energy to do everything you do?
How can we?
How do you have the energy to do everything you do? You'll be here with us, and then tomorrow in the morning we find out you're in Djibouti, and then you're in Geneva,
Yes.
and then you're back in Kigali. Your Excellency, how do you have this energy?
It is simple. Keep pushing yourself to the limit. I tell you, all of you here are doing about, maybe on average, let me say, 50% of what you are actually able to do, because you don't push yourselves to the limit. And before you get to the limit, you have really done a lot. Ariko muguma mwisigiramo, I don't know what, you reserve 50%, you call it for fun, or you have fun, 50%, and then 50% you do serious work. I think you need to push the needle a little bit up, take it to 80, and have 20% for fun. What do you think? Actually, some of the things you waste time on are not even fun. There are things I don't even have a name for. It's just a waste of... but if you push yourself, you will do anything human beings are capable of doing, and that's a lot. It's a lot. And you just make a decision. It's in you. First of all, you have the potential for such amount of work you can do. The rest is up to you to make a decision. You say, do I want to do it? Should I do it? Do I understand the sense it makes to do it? And then you say, I am going to do it. So push yourselves. Push, push, push it. Have you heard of anybody who died of trying to push themselves to the limit? Have you? No, but we have heard of so many who pushed themselves to the limit and actually succeeded. I think this is the story we have. So why wouldn't the young people want to do that? Right? So if you want to know that, I invite you to stay with me for a week, then you will see how things work.
Murakoze, twemere twakwakira ikindi kibazo muri ruhande.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I'm here above.
I'm seeing here, then the other one is where?
Ngo reka tubanze twakira ikibazo hano hanyuma ubwo twakubonye ntacyo mukomeze.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Adrien Niyodusaba.
Kugiye gusoma discourse second.
Your Excellency.
Go to the point.
Yes, Your Excellency, I have a message to you from the Rwandan community in South Korea.
Summarize it just like you are writing an SMS. You just condense it.
First of all, I want to tell you that the Rwandan community in South Korea is doing as much as we can to increase the awareness of the progress that our country made from the tragedy of 1994 to where we are now. And as a result of that, we have many Korean people who are interested in doing business with Rwanda. We have people who want to invest in Rwanda.
So why don't you bring them?
Yes, Your Excellency, I want to make a suggestion that we make that happen. And it's about the Rwandan stock market.
The Rwandan what?
The stock market.
Stock market?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Excellency, I believe that if we could expand the stock market, because recently I paid a visit to the headquarters of the Rwandan stock market there in Kigali City Tower, and apparently it didn't strike me as very noticeable or very big, and I think that concerns me because many people does not know about it, and that is also reflected in the fact that...
Yes, but you also are aware that it is still young, it has just started. So
yes.
Like anything that is starting, we can help it to grow very fast, and then it extends wherever you want it to go.
Yes, so I am suggesting that if we could have like an office of Rwanda Stock Exchange in other countries, South Korea included, it would help us to direct investors who want to own the Rwandan stocks.
In the meantime, can you bring other investors?
Thank you, Your Excellency. We are going to try our best to make that happen, and we give that promise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Murakoze, Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, twemereye twakwakira ibindi bibazo bitatu.
Hari abantu ndeba hariya bakomeje bashyira.
Tubegere, tubahe mikoro. Niba muri hafi begere.
Murakoze cyane Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Reka nkwereke turusheho kwihutisha ibibazo tufate byinshi more than 3 and then we are done.
Twebwe turi hano dushima Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Diedone Twahirwa, ni umuyobozi wungirije w'urubyiruko rukora ubuhinzi n'ubworozi. Dushimira inama mwatuzaniye izatangira ejo ihuriza hamwe urubyiruko rwose rwa Afurika, aho baje kwiga ku byo dukora kandi natwe tukaba twizera ko tuziga ku byo bakoze. Turabashimira cyane, bidufiye akamaro. Bakoze cyane.
Urakoze.
Twakira ikindi kibazo inyuma yawe. Inyuma yawe hari lady who... Yes, please, pass the microphone.
Have nka bibiri cyangwa bitatu tugire hanyuma tukomeza hano.
Murakoze cyane Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Nitwa Nkundifura Rosette, nkora muri Mije Prof. Mwatubwiye ngo uri niki kibazo wabaza Perezida, njyewe ntago ari ikibazo kuko twatangiye ihuriro ry'abakobwa b'abayobozi muri za kaminuza rishinzwe gushakira ibisubizo noneho atari ibibazo. Ikibazo cyo kubwira abakobwa ko iri ya 30%, turanayibashimira cyane ko iri muri constitution, aho abagore n'abakobwa nabo bemererwa guparticipatinga muri leadership. Uyu munsi turishimira ko mu bakobwa barimo guhatanira imyanya y'abadepite 5 muri bo barenga bari batutse muri iyo forum, aho twatangiye kubigisha ko bakwiye guparticipatinga, uruhare rwabo narwo ari ngombwa. Ikindi kibazo nacyo turimo kurwana nacyo ni kijyanye no kurwanya inda zitateganijwe mu bakobwa uhereye muri kaminuza, muri za secondaire n'ahandi, kandi turizera ko nidukomeza gufatikanya n'abandi iki kibazo nacyo tuzagihashya. Harimo kandi no kubigisha kwihangira imirimo no guteza umuco imbere wacu. Ndishimira rero ko mu by'ukuri urubyiruko ntabwo dufite ibibazo gusa, dukeneye no gushaka ibisubizo, tukabafasha Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Urakoze cyane.
Urakoze cyane. Ubundi nyuma yawe mikoro hanyuma turangiza.
Murakoze Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Nitwa Mukabarisa Marie Jose, nkaba naturutse mu karere ka Gakenke. Nkabandi Young Innovators. Mu by'ukuri koko nk'urubyiruko nk'uko mubidutoza kwihangira umurimo turawuhanga kandi tukawukora, ariko cyane cyane nkatwe dutuye mu cyaro rwose mujye mukomeza kutuzirikana kuko ikibazo dufite n'imbogamizi nyinshi. Ibintu turabihanga ariko ikibazo cya transport kikatugora kubera ikibazo cy'imihanda, nta kamodoka kagere mu cyaro, kubona wenda na bya bikoresho byawe kugira bigeza ku muhanda ni ikibazo, kujya kuzana wenda ibindi wakoresha ni ikibazo, ibintu byose bigashira mu transport ugasanga.
Nakumvise rwose.
Koze inyuma yawe hari undi muntu. Lady
udutahiriza abagakenke imihanda turaza kuyikoraho. n'amamodoka araza kugira.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Kimenyi John. Mwavuze ku buzima, nanjye ikibazo cyanjye kiragendana n'ubuzima. Iyo turebye ubushobozi bwa Minisante cyangwa se n'urwego rushinzwe ubuzima hano mu Rwanda buri hasi cyane, cyane cyane ku ndwara zikomeye, ndavugamo nka kanseri cyangwa se hepatite n'izindi zikomeye. Nkaba mbona ko ubuzima bw'urubyiruko cyane cyane n'ahandi burahazaharira, ariko mbifitiye igisubizo natekereje. Bafite ni ibisubizo bitatu. Icyambere nuko habaho gutangwa scholarship hagendewe kuri performance y'abanyeshuri. Ndabizi bashobora kuvuga ko bikorwa, ariko niba bikorwa ntago bitanga umusaruro. Ikindi nkuko tuzi ko habaho Agaciro Development Fund cyangwa se na mituweli, hakongerwa nibura niyo byaba ari igiceri cy'ijana cyangwa se 200, hakabaho ikigega kiri ku ruhande ku buryo babandi barwaye bashobora kuvuzwa bagakira bakoherezwa hanze. Ikindi gisubizo cya gatatu,
ariko sinzi bimwe uvuga ni biriho ahubwo nyine bikorwa, ntabwo ndumva kuko iby'abantu amafaranga ashyirwa uruhande agira mituweli de sante ukuntu zikora zunganira abantu kurusha aho ubiza hariho hose ku isi. Icya kabiri, mu by'ukuri izo ndwara bavugaga ubushobozi ngo ari bukeya cyane, sinzi ahubwo niba udakurikira amakuru. Hari nko muri iriya university cyangwa hospital ya Butaro, wari wayumva?
Yego.
Hari ahantu ukuntu bafasha kuvura abantu izo ndwara zikomeye cyane cyane za kanseri, ngira ngo bimaze gutera imbere kurusha ibyo dufite hano muri iyi region. Hanone ntabwo bihagije. Kuvuga ko bidahagije, niba wavuga ngo twongere imbaraga mu byo bikorwa nenda kumva, ariko kwibwira ko ibikorwa bidahari cyangwa bidafite urwego biriho ntabwo ari byo.
Oya nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, navuga birahari, ariko ukurikije urugero abarwayi bariho ntago hari abacikana ugasanga ubuzima burahazaharira.
Ariko nta muti wawe duhaye watuma bihinduka mu mezi 2 cyangwa 5 cyangwa umwaka umwe. Ibiriho bikorwa ni ibyo ngibyo nyine bigamije kubizamura ku byo uriho uvuga.
Undi muti numvaga wabikemura nuko nkuko dukangurira aba investors kuza ku investinga mu Rwanda, nkuko hari Volkswagen mu Rwanda, numva ko haza nk'ibindi bitaro byo hanze bifitiye ubushobozi bikubaka hano mu Rwanda. Murakoze.
Murakoze cyane.
Kugira ngo hara hejuru naho twemere twakira ibindi bibazo. Yego, izimwe mikro.
Murakoze. Je nitwa Uwase nigena, nkaba ndi umuganga.
Igegereze mikoro uvuge cyane kugira ngo.
Murakoze. Je nitwa Uwase nigena, nkaba ndi umuganga. Ndabanza gushimira iyi opportunity baduhaye. Ubundi nkaba ndi umuganga ukorana n'abafite ibibazo mu mutwe, harimo no gukoresha ibiyobyabwenge. Aba nibo nshaka kuvugira. Ubu mu Rwanda ntago mituweli yishyura package yose bahabwa mu bitaro bike dufite. Nkaba nifuza nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, niba bishoboka mwadusabira mituweli ikishyurira abashaka kugerageza kureka ibiyobyabwenge amasoin mu bitaro. Murakoze.
Okay. Ibyo nabyo ni ikibazo rwose. Ikintu cyose cyafasha kubuza abantu cyangwa kugarura abantu ku murongo bakava mu biyobyabwenge byose twabikora.
Murakoze. Twakira ikibazo hara hejuru.
Ariko icyangombwa cya mbere ni prevention. Ntabwo ari gutegereza ngo abantu babanze bayobe ubwenge noneho tubatware kujya kuba. Tugerageze kubikumira, hanyuma dufashe abo byarenze byananiranye.
murakoze. Nera hejuru afite mikoro.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa David Twizerimana, naturutse mu nama y'igihugu y'abantu bafite ubumuga, ariko ndi umunyamabanga nshingwabikorwa w'umuryango twashinze witwa THT. Turagushimiye, watubwiye ibintu bitatu: ubuzima, uburezi ndetse n'umurimo. Ntavuze kuri kimwe n'ikindi, navuga wenda ku kijyanye n'umurimo. Hari byinshi bimaze gukorwa, hari amateka, hari n'amategeko afasha abantu bafite ubumuga kugira ngo bagere kuri serivisi zitandukanye, ariko ahantu hatangirwa umurimo yaba ari mu nzego za leta, mu public institutions and private sector, usanga hari ibyo bataramenya cyane cyane mu guha uburenganzira bw'abantu bafite ubumuga cyane cyane ku murimo. Ugasanga ari ikintu gikeneye kugira ngo ukomeze kudukoreraho ubuvugizi, kugira ngo abajene yaba ari abafite ubumuga bwo kutabona, abafite ubumuga bwo kutumva no kutavuga, mu gihe bari muri kompetisiyo zo kugira ngo babone umurimo biborohere, kuko bimaze kugaragara ko bashoboye. Ikindi cya kabiri nicyo nagira ngo mfate iyo opportunity.
Turihutisha mikoro. Icyo cya mbere cyumvikanye, turaza gushaka uburyo bwose byakwihuta.
Icya kabiri ni ikijyanye na opportunity nk'uko watubwiye, yo kudufasha kugira ngo nibura mu nzego zitandukanye, cyane cyane wenda navuga nk'ahurira abantu benshi, nafatira nk'urugero nko mu gihe twajyaga mu kwamamaza n'iki, wasangaga abantu bakora mu nzego zitandukanye badasobanukiwe n'uburyo bafashamwe abantu bafite ubumuga. Mu by'ukuri bakeneye kumenya uburenganzira bwabo kugira ngo noneho bizajye byoroha buri munyarwanda wese.
Byumvikanye ibyo abantu bafite ubumuga kubitaho, baba bato baba bakuru, iyo ni inshingano tugomba kwihutisha. Minisiteri ziraha zibishinzwe ni izihe? Ni bande? Ntabari hano? Yes. Tugirire vuba.
Murakoze Excellence. Nk'uko abivuga, hari aho tugifite intege nke ariko turimo dushakisha kuzikemura. Ubwo yavuze mu bijyanye n'umurimo, ariko dufite no mu bijyanye no kwiga, ari abo bafite ubumuga bwo kutabona cyangwa kutumva, tudafite ibikoresho bihagije, ariko turimo turarangiza umushinga wo kurora uko twafatanya n'abafatanyabikorwa dusanzwe dufatanya kugira ngo bashobore kudufasha no kubaka ubushobozi bw'abarimu bashobora kwigisha ndetse n'ibikoresho bishobora kuboneka. Hari byinshi bimaze gukorwa nko kubafasha kugera aho bagomba kugera, hari aho batashoboraga no kugera no mu nzu zitandukanye. Icyo twakwishimira nko muri aya mazu yubakwa uyu munsi bashobora kuhagera biboroheye, ntekereza icyo gituma bashoboye no kugera hariya hejuru. So ubwo nibyo duhera.
Very good. Asante sana.
Murakoze.
Undi vuba.
Murakoze.
Hari n'abari inyuma yawe aho, hera n'abari hafi aho.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Uwimana Kirema. Herereye hano hejuru imbere yanyu. Hano.
Rasa ku ntego. Rasa ku ntego bazi ikibazo cyawe.
Ari gahunda yo gushyira abantu mu byiciro by'ubudehe twagezeho kandi dukurikiza neza, ariko iyo tugiye mu bice biri rural areas, mu bice by'icyaro, tubona ko hari aho habonekamo imbogamizi ugereranyije ni mu bice byo mu mujyi. Mu bice by'icyaro hari uburyo usanga bashyira umuntu mu cyiciro cy'ubudehe, ariko batarebye ku mutungo afite ngo babyibandeho cyane, bajya mu mujyi bakareba umutungo umuntu afite. Urugero bakavuga ati niba umuntu atunze nk'imodoka imwe turamushyira mu cyiciro cya 3, bagera mu cyaro bakavuga ati uyu muntu atunze nk'imwe agomba kujya mu cyiciro cya 3. Tugereranyije abo bantu bombi ntago bazabona ubushobozi bungana uko iminsi igenda yicuma. Wa muntu uri mu cyaro ashobora
ibyo byonyine kuba dufite gushaka gushyira abantu mu byiciro bitandukanye kugira ngo tubone uko dukemura ikibazo birashimishije, twabikoresha. Icya kabiri ni ukubikora neza tukabinoza, ntibizane urujijo ngo abakwiriye kuba babona imfashanyo runaka ntibazibone kubera ko biteranijwe. Icyo ni ikibazo kirumvikanye ngira.
Murakoze.
Kaboneka icyo kibazo nacyo wasubiza. Just a moment.
Mr. President,
I'll come to you. Just a moment.
Okay.
Just. Yes, icyo kibazo cya categorization.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, ikibazo gihari nagiye mubwire ko amabwiriza akoreshwa muri remote areas n'akoreshwa mu mujyi namwe ntabwo atandukanye. Hari aho tugira ikibazo cy'uko ubundi categorization ni abaturage mu mudugudu bicara bakafata mugenzi wabo bakurikije amabwiriza bakamushyiramo bikurikije n'ubushobozi arimo.
Ntabwo ari abantu baturuka ahandi ngo baze
ni mu mudugudu,
ni ubwabo nibo bikorera.
Yes sir.
Kuba kiri.
Ariko ikibazo gihari, hari abadashaka kujya muri izo categorization bifuza bo bakavuga ngo genda ashaka kujya muri iyi ngiyi kubera we abyifuza. Ntabwo rero tugendera ku byifuzo, tugendera ku kuri
uko ibintu bimeze.
Yes sir.
Okay. Yarango byumvikanye. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, sorry for my enthusiasm. My name is Eliza Karanga. I am a third
enthusiasm,
year.
keep it up. Don't lower your enthusiasm.
Thank you. This is a word of appreciation and also an answer, I think, to invest in ourselves. I'm a third-year urban and regional planner student, and I am currently interning at the city of Kigali at One Stop Center. And I'm witnessing the ongoing revision of the master plan, the Kigali master plan. And I'd like to suggest that, no, my hopes are most people, most industries and businesses offer more internships for people who are in university, people who are in school, because it's a struggle for many of us who are trying to have internships.
Okay.
So thank you.
Good. So, Minister of Education, wabyumvise? When n'izindi nzego try and address that problem. Kugira ngo bifashe abanyeshuri biga bashaka internships, bashaka no kugira practice. Abandi ari hehe?
Hello, Mr. President. I have a question. I'm a student abroad, and I'm a student abroad in Belgium, actually. So they tell us when we are young there, the kids should start work when they are 15, 16 to develop their working, like how they work, to actually grow up, know how people should work, how we should start actually studying young, how life goes, because sometimes you study, and when you end studying, you start working, but you never worked before, and working and studying is not the same thing. So I actually had a question. Can actually kids here get proper studying jobs, okay, so they can actually start working when they are young and develop all of that? The other question is how you feel about kids working when they are starting at age 15 to develop their working environment.
It depends on what the work is.
It could be simple works like even a coffee shop. Even if a coffee shop, you can learn a lot of things.
Even
exactly.
at home.
But at home you don't get money. At home you don't know you have to wake up at some hour to start work. You don't have some hours.
Some children don't do work at all. At home they just sleep and eat and sleep. And then they go to school, come back. They can't even do the simple things. Even making their beds is difficult for them those who have beds. So it depends on the work. Certainly, like we have had in the past, which we have tried to address, we have had young people, you find working, let's say, in tea and coffee plantations. Some of that is not good. at a young age, they shouldn't be doing those kinds of work. But there is work that can be in the category that actually helps young people to grow up knowing how to work, to do something. So they study, they work. So you have to choose what work and at what age. There is an age that you don't want to allow kids to do certain heavy kinds of jobs. You don't want them to do that. So it's up to different institutions to streamline that. But at the same time, you don't want 12-year-old, 13, 15, to just have no notion of doing even simple things around, starting even in the homestead. You want them to be active, to learn, to do simple things that are available around. When it comes to the job market, then when you are 15, you are still very young, there are certain things you are not allowed to do. You can't have a 15-year-old working in the mines. You know, mining, you find them in those pits of mines or caves or whatever. It's not a place for 15-year-old. But there are places for 15-year-olds. This is what we can try and figure out.
Murakoze. Kwakira ikibazo hano. Tony, mwa mikro. This young lady, please ask your question.
Murakoze. Nitwa Gisele. Naturutse muri Girls Leaders Forum Rwanda.
Waturutse he?
GLF Rwanda.
Ari hano hasi.
Yes. Some corners are dark, I can't see. Now I see you.
Nishimiye ingingo watuganirijeho. Ntago nkoresha ibiyobyabwenge, ariko ndasaba urubyiruko ruraha mu izina ry'urubyiruko mu gihugu hose. Munyemerere tugirane igihango na Perezida wa Repubulika ko tugiye gufatanya na rubyiruko ruri hanze rugatandukana burundu n'ibiyobyabwenge. Icya kabiri,
ndagushimiye cyane, nabo bari bakwiye kugushimira ko
murakoze.
Twasinye imihigo hano ko tugiye
kuyesa.
Twakoze imihigo, sibyo? Tugomba kubikurikiza.
Icya kabiri, hari urubyiruko ruba rukoresha ibiyobyabwenge nyuma bakajyanwa mu bigo ngororamuco, ariko iyo bagarutse kenshi na kenshi usanga sosiyete ikibafata nka babandi bo hambere kandi barize, aho kugira ngo bahabwe akato. Nasabaga ko hamwe n'urubyiruko n'inzego zibishinzwe twashyira imbaraga mu kugira ngo bahuzwe n'abafashamyumvire bagaruke mu buzima busanzwe.
Nibyo, nabyo ndemeranya nabyo.
Ikindi ni ku mitangire y'akazi mu gihugu. Ntabwo ndambirana n'umunota umwe. Urubyiruko nk'uko gahunda y'igihugu ikomeza itera imbaraga ba rwiyemezamirimo bo hanze ngo baze bemvestise mu Rwanda, nagira ngo tubasabe wenda na minisiteri ifite umurimo mu nshingano zayo bajye babobrija kugira pourcentage y'urubyiruko rw'u Rwanda baheraho batanga akazi.
Murakoze cyane.
Murakoze. Jye nitwa Igor Mabano, ndi umunyeshuri wize umuziki hano mu gihugu cy'u Rwanda kuri promosiyo ya mbere. Ndabashimira ko mwahaye agaciro umuziki wacu mukadushingira n'ishuri, noneho impano dufite tukaziga tukazigaragaza. Ubu ndi umwe mu banyeshuri bahawe akazi kuba umwarimu muri iryo shuri. Ndabashimira. Ikibazo cyanjye mfite kirarebana n'umuziki w'u Rwanda. Dukora ibihangano byiza, ariko platform y'uburyo twunguka ku bijyanye n'umuziki uko tuba twawukoze biracyari ikibazo. Ndifuza ko mwadufasha ku buryo twabona uburyo natwe umuziki mu byo dukora abanyarwanda babyumvira ubuntu. Kuri iki gihe turifuza natwe kubona amafaranga. Icya kabiri ni ikijyanye n'ibitaramo dutegura. cyangwa se concert muri rusange rimwe na rimwe birahagarikwa kubera amasaha cyangwa se aho byakorewe bitewe n'urusaku. Murakoze.
Ibyo niko nta kundi byagenda. Ibintu byose bigomba kugira igihe cyabyo. Ni ukureba gusa, ntabwo bafunze ngo bigarukire aho, ariko buri gikorwa n'umwanya wacyo, ari igihe ari naho gikorera.
Urumva ntago twasabaga aho twabonera twakorera concert ku buryo zitahagarikwa.
Aho mwakorera
concert cyangwa se ibitaramo muri rusange ku buryo bitahagarikwa. Ikibazo cya mbere cyo cyari platform y'uburyo twabona inyungu mu muziki dukora.
Aho mwakorera concert ni nka hehe wifuza?
Turifuza kubona sale basi nibura twakoreramo ibitaramo.
Nk'iyi ntabwo byakoreshwa?
Ni ibyo ngibyo twifuza, ariko ikibazo cya mbere cyo ni inyungu ku bijyanye na music dukora, uburyo yatwinjiriza
amafaranga. Hari abarebwa na hano nahoze mbona bicaye hariya, ubwo turababwira bashakira umwanya ukuntu hajya hakoreshwa rimwe na rimwe. Ntabwo ari iteka kuko hari ibindi nabyo bihakorerwa. Aho mwakorera ni iki?
Ikibazo cya mbere kijyanye na platform y'uburyo music dukora twayibonamo amafaranga nk'uko twabyize.
Okay, uko mwayibonamo amafaranga, ab'umuco na RDB nahoze ndeba Manuel Hategeka hariya. Mugomba gufasha bariya abantu uburyo abantu twabigeraho, hanyuma bishaka ubufasha tukaba twabushaka.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Ibyo basaba nibyo, hagiyeho n'urwego rubafasha. Hari urwego rwitwa Rwanda Society of Authors bashinzwe kwegeranya abahanzi bakabyaza umusaruro ibihangano byabo, yemwe bakanadufasha kubyandikisha kugira ngo abandi batabikoresha ku nyungu zabo. Ubwo rero icyo namukangurira ni uko yatwegera tukamuhuza n'abandi.
Muzamwegere.
Yes sir. Turamwegera tumuhuze n'abandi, ikibazo gikemuke Your Excellency.
Muzabegere mubafashe, kuko bariya authors bavugaga, authors ntabwo bazi gukora amafaranga. Ni authors baba yakora mu authoring ibyo bandika ibyo ari byo byose.
Ni platform ibahuza bose.
Nibyo nyine irabahuza bose, ariko barashaka some external input y'ukuntu ibyo byabyazwa umusaruro w'amafaranga. Naho barahura bagakora umuziki mwiza, bagakora ibindi bya arts byiza, ariko kubihinduramo ikintu kibyara amafaranga ntabwo babizobereyemo. Niyo mpamvu ushaka ko RDB yabafasha.
Tuzabafasha
mukabegera mukabikemura.
Okay.
Good.
Abandi twakira ikindi kibazo hano.
Hehe.
Ikibazo hano inyuma yanyu.
All right, thank you, Your Excellency.
Hanyuma harundi umuhe mikoro, then haruyo dufata abandi nka babiri. Harabo nabonye hariya nabo.
Okay, thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Micho Tade.
Ariko iba mwabazaga ibintu bigufi ku buryo bugufi twari gufata benshi cyane, ariko buri wese.
My question will be brief. My name is Micho Tade. I'm a student in China.
Yes.
I'm into shipping business. So we ship goods from China to Rwanda.
You are a student.
Yeah.
You do shipping.
Yes.
That's not a bad idea.
All right, so my question is, I have two questions for you, two small questions.
Why don't you combine them and make one big question and we are done?
It's okay.
Yes.
When you're talking about education, you told us to keep increasing our knowledge and keep educating ourselves.
Yes.
So if I'm not mistaken, one of the best ways to increasing our knowledge is reading books.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, to tell us your 3 favorite books that you would recommend young people to read. Okay. And also, my second question is, when can you expect to see more of your books in the libraries or in the bookstores? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe I should answer your question I put the answers on Twitter, and then you can read that.
Okay, Chirano.
Who else?
Yes, Your Excellency, my name is Ephraim. To your right, Your Excellency, to your right, over here.
Okay.
Perfect.
It was behind me, actually. Go ahead.
Yes, so my name is Ephraim. I'm an entrepreneur. And there's an issue we have. It's still nascent, but it has the potential to become problematic.
That what?
We have an issue, and it's still small, but it has the potential to become problematic for the private sector. We have NGOs undermining the competitiveness within our economy.
You have energy?
NGOs undermining the competitiveness within our economy. Yes. And undermining the competitiveness within our economy. What they are doing is an NGO receives funds from a donor, from a development organization. They come and they become an active player in the private sector. Now what they end up doing is that they undercut the prices and they make it close to impossible for the active players in the market to compete.
Would you mind giving me a quick example?
So my line of work, we have a company that does serviced offices and co-work spaces. Now recently, I'll have to mention the name, but a company came in, or an NGO came in, with development funds and have cut the price by 50%. Now they're running at a loss and they've increased scale, but they make it impossible for myself and other players in the market to do the same. And the issue we are facing is we know that after 2 years when their funding runs out, they're gonna leave. And they leave a huge gap in the market that we could have filled if we were given the chance.
So, Atajeka, can you I want to get to the root of that. I would want you to give details to RDB people. I want us to study it so that we tackle it from an informed position rather than just, because that may sound problematic, but I want us to be clear what it is. So please, will you will see the RDB people. I want us to address that problem. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Arnold Quizera. My issue is regarding one of the things you are championing, which is self-financing of the AU. And for self-financing to happen, then our private economies have to grow.
What you offered, that's okay. But the problem comes in when now the rules of the game change, meaning somebody is cheating somewhere. The one who won the contract because the offer was attractive, if he turns around and subcontracts you, then something is already changing that actually needs to be investigated. You see what I mean? So my concern is, or would be, if a contract has been given to an entity just because it is foreign and not because it provides a solution cost effectively, the best solution that was being looked for cost effectively. That would be a problem. How things change hands in between, somebody is doing something wrong. And indeed, that is something, if our people, if the people here who are processing these bids, it doesn't stop there. It should actually also continue. There must be a process that oversees what happens after the contract has been given. To who and are things being done according to what was agreed or contracted? That's where the gap is. That's where the problem is. There is no follow-up. You see my point? You may find that in giving the other one a contract and you losing it, that might have been fair, given what all of you were offering, right? Let me assume that is the case. So how it turns out that now somebody who won the tender actually comes and contracts you, there must be something wrong. And it arises out of lack of follow-up of what people are doing in the whole process. This is where things can be corrected. Right? Yeah, in fact, let me dare say this, I don't know, subject to other things. If I found that the two of you were bidding for the same thing, and this one was given the contract, I may actually, in the end, maybe we should put a provision. I may cancel the tender or the contract that was given to you and give it now to this one you subcontracted, if he was part of the tender process. That is something that can be done to remedy, but we have problems in the follow-up, which ends up into, being what you are talking about. But we can find some remedy around that, because there's a bit of cheating in this. Because that's how sometimes in other contracts, actually people bid for something, they lower their costs and everything. Once they have got it, and are in the process of executing what they were contracted for, they turn around and say, you know what? We actually found there are things we did not include. So they ask for an increase of money or time. And then they are given. There is something wrong with that. But it happens, I know it happens, and I think we need to examine that kind of thing. It just doesn't make sense. Since niba hari abantu hano ba finance, hari abantu ba finance bari hano? Finance and planning, no one here? We shall handle it, but Hategeka, do you have an idea about that and what we could possibly do? Quickly, but I find something wrong, absolutely.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I also find something wrong there. There must be a contradiction. Normally, under the new public procurement policy, actually, local service providers are given preference over foreign service providers by 15 percentage points. So if you are bidding and you are technically qualified, you are financially right, you have a 15% advantage over a foreign bidder. So if there is a situation where we have a foreign bidder winning and then subcontracting a local who has lost in the same bid, I think we need to investigate that, Your Excellency. We need to find out if we can get the specific cases, then we should be able to
So again, the two of you, I'm interested in understanding exactly that, and this man you see here should get those details. I'm interested in getting to the bottom of
Thank you, sir.
Of that, yes. Where else?
Your Excellency.
We're taking a question here.
Where?
Your Excellency.
Quickly.
Please.
Canada.
No, go ahead, please.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I live in Canada, and I'm a second-year student in the University of Alberta. And what I've realized among my peers at school like my Rwandese peers, is we don't speak the language, we don't speak Nyarwanda, we don't know the history, the tradition. And I was wondering if we can start a program where like a trading program within the Rwandese embassy to trade, and then we can come here during the summer and learn about our culture and tradition so we can be invested in the country.
I agree.
And the students here can, like the Rwandese students can go to Canada and learn about like the culture, Canadian culture.
To learn Canadian culture?
I don't know, just to experience different culture, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you who are there are enough to bring to us that culture, and we learn from you. But let's concentrate on learning our culture.
Here we have expression.
All right?
Yeah.
But I get your point to put an infrastructure here.
Yes.
That can allow people from wherever, Canada or other places, to come and connect with the country and learn the culture and many other things. And also, in fact, while you are doing that, while that is happening, then we can also learn a bit of culture from those places.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Good.
Your Excellency.
Yeah.
Your Excellency.
There's somebody here who kept the lady on the other side.
Your Excellency.
Started long ago. No, you are not a lady, my friend. I mean, I'll come to you. Let's first get to this one.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Pal, and I work for the next Einstein.
What is this?
Pal. Pal. My name is Pal.
Okay, you work
and I work for the next Einstein Forum.
Okay.
So it's not a question, but I would want to hear from you as the chairman of the AU. What are some of the challenges that you've faced, and how can you relate that to Pan-Africanism across the continent? Thank you.
That's going to take us a whole night. I'll find another time to tell you that story. This guy, the one I discouraged and said,
urakoze cyane nyakubahwa
magambo make.
Mazina banyita Rikadi Nshimimana, nkora muri mituweli, nkorana n'abaturage mbakira umunsi ku munsi. Icyifuzo naringize ngo nkuvugishe ntago ari ikibazo, ni ikintu nabonye ku kijyanye na BDF.
BDF?
Yeah.
Business Development something?
Yeah. Funds.
Okay.
BDF itumobiriza itubwira yuko twakora uko dushoboye tugakora imishinga ikadufasha kuyinonosora kugira ngo itere inkunga urubyiruko. Ariko imbogamizi tubona irimo iyo tumaze gukora imishinga, akenshi turagenda bakayisuzuma bagasanga imishinga niyo, bakadusaba ko tudepoza muri banke tugakora n'imishinga yose na banke ikadusaba ibisabwa. Ariko byagera muri banke bikaryamayo, ntubone igisubizo, ugasubira kuri BDF ati ubwo byakosohotse banki izaguha igisubizo. Banki wagerayo ikakubwira yuko batarakwizera neza, hari abandi bari gukorana. Turagira ngo icyo kintu BDF ijye inadufasha umushinga ugeze muri banki idushyigikire, ikorane nabo. Murakoze.
Again, ategekari.
Excellency, thank you for being with us today.
Just a moment, let me clear that. What goes on in that case?
Murakoze, Your Excellency. Ikibazo cye ni delays zituruka mu banks ba processing imishinga yabo.
Baba babonye n'ibisubizo bikaza bitasobanutse.
Nabyo bigatinda. We are going to work with BDF to make sure that they can do the extra step yasabye. Kuko ubundi koko nkuko bivuga BDF bagarukiraga gutanga guarantee the 75%. Noneho rwiyemezamirimo yabona the 25 of his own agakomeza gukurikirana umushinga we na bank. But we're going to make sure that BDF can actually follow through.
You take note of that problem and see how we fix that.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Who else?
Thank you for being here with us today. I'm in my final year of high school, and my name is Mihigo Sengiman. As the chairperson of the African Union...
Final year where?
High school.
Okay, where? Here?
In Kigali, Gachuriro.
Yes.
As the chairperson of the African Union, what is Rwandan's responsibility to help fellow Africans?
What is Rwanda's?
Responsibility to help fellow Africans.
We have no responsibility to help, but to cooperate. We cooperate with other Africans. We want to learn from each other. We want to work together. In many cases, I don't like this help thing. When you cooperate, when you work together, when you benefit each other, that's the best form of relationship I would encourage with other Africans. We do a lot with other Africans, east, west, south, north, but we do it in a form of saying, this is what we are thinking about solving this problem that we face, that we think you also face. This is our idea. What is yours? So that we also pick from that and address our own problems. So cooperation is most important form of relationship and addressing African problems. We want integration, Africans to work together in a form of integration, creating these big spaces where challenges can be addressed together, opportunities can be exploited together, and so on and so forth.
Ikindi kibazo hano.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida, nitwa Kazimbaya Malkia. Ngewe mfite ikibazo ariko nyifitiye igisubizo, nicyo nashaka kubasaba.
Yes.
Dufite ikibazo cya unemployment mu rubyiruko ngira ngo kirazwi. Hari mugenzi wanjye umaze kuvuga, hari BDF, hari different institutions za guverinoma zidufasha. Ariko ikibazo gihari nuko twebwe nk'urubyiruko twabaye privileged kubona akazi, tukava muri rwa rwego rwo kutaba unemployed. Ntacyo dukora kugira ngo dufashe abakiri unemployed. So ngewe nyakubahwa Perezida nashaka kumfasha tugatangiza campaign yanjye nakoze imibare yihuse, bavuga ko turi 60% or above y'abaturage batuye igihugu. Urubyiruko murarenza ahubwo mugera. Yes, so natekerezaga ko nubwo twahera ku mafaranga 1000, buri rubyiruko rugatanga amafaranga 1000 ku kwezi, na amafaranga make ashoboka. Ngerageje gukora imibare nkoreye kuri ya 60%, nagejeje kuri 84 billion ku mwaka. Umuntu yatanze amafaranga 1000 yonyine. Noneho ya mafaranga akajya gufasha BDF n'abandi badufasha kugira ngo tuve muri rwa rwego rwo kutaba employed. So nyakubahwa Perezida rero ndashaka kubasaba.
That is an idea to be considered.
Yes. Nashaka ko mumfasha tukatangiza iyo campaign.
Oya tukabanza tukabibara neza ahubwo tukabibara.
Tukabibara tukabishira mu nyandiko.
Icyo bidusaba, the meaning of it, the implications. Yes. I agree with you.
Thank you so much.
Then when we are clear about what needs to be done, I'm happy to support you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I'm called Baguma Stephen.
And when you are done, there are other people in front here. Then we go.
I'm called Baguma Stephen. I work for Rwanda Revenue Authority at the Gatuna border. Your Excellency, we have been having a problem at the border. Our border has been under construction for probably like now 4 years. It has been under construction. I wonder why it is delaying, and it causes jam because of the many trucks that are coming from Uganda.
But you should be telling us what is the problem. Why? You 4 years you have been there and you don't know why?
No, I was transferred last year to the border, but up to now it has been under construction.
Yes, so the question is
so
why?
They had stopped.
Yeah.
So now I'm thankful that they have now started again. And I'm like requesting the minister.
Who are doing the construction?
It is Rocco Construction.
No. Who are the supervisors of this? Who have it in their responsibility to?
It must be the Minister of Infrastructure.
The Minister of Construction?
Yes, sir.
Which one is this? Where? There is no Minister of Infrastructure here? No representative? I just want to know, anybody from the Minister of Infrastructure? Where? Infrastructure, help us quickly. What is the problem?
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Ikibazo ni rwiyemezamirimo utarabashije gutanga.
Iki?
Ikibazo cyabayeho rwiyemezamirimo wa mbere ntabwo abashije kubaka nk'uko byasabwe tutaminetinga contract, ariko ubu ngubu haje rwiyemezamirimo
mushya. Ubu mugeze kuwa kangahe?
Kuwa kabiri.
Rwiyemezamirimo wa kabiri?
Yego.
Uwa mbere n'uwa kabiri bimaze imyaka ine.
Uwa kabiri we yatangiye umwaka ushize mu mpera.
Uwa mbere yamaze imyaka 3 mureba heza.
Nakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Habayemo ibibazo nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Ni ibyo nyine nibyo mbaza, ni ibibazo. Habaye.
Ntabwo yabashije,
ariko bikamara imyaka 3 umuntu akora ubusa mukamwihorera mukazafata undi hanyuma.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Okay, ubu bigeze he none?
Murakoze cyane nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Imirimo ahigeze ubu ngubu igeze urebye kuri 47%. Tukatuzarangiza na 7%. Tukatuzarangiza mu kwezi kwa gatandatu umwaka utaha nyakubahwa Perezida.
Why? Murubaka a nuclear plant or what? What are you constructing?
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Nyirango ni imiterere y'imirimo izakorwa, harimo umuhanda, akazamo no kubaka one stop border post, nicyo gihe bizafata.
Ntabwo ari byo, ntabwo ari byo. Okay, but we will see. Ikibazo cyo kiba biri ahantu hose. Hari abantu hariya bakomeza bashyira amaboko hejuru.
Thank you, Mr.
Wari umuri inyuma niwe wakomeje, ariko nawe ugira vuba hanyuma hari undi inyuma.
Thank you, Mr. President. My names are Ian Levero. I'm a university student doing aeronautic engineering. My question is one.
You are a student?
Where? I'm a university student in China doing aeronautic engineering.
Electric engineering?
Aeronautic.
Aeronautic?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. My question is one. It is, what are the keys do you think we need as the youth, Rwandan youth, let's say, to translating our vision for Rwanda's and probably Africa's future into action? Thank you.
Well, when you finish aeronautic engineering, I'll be happy answering the question. Yes. Aeronautic engineering is one of the solutions we have for, so I'm glad you are taking that.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida, nitwa Ingabire Grace, nkaba ndi umunyeshuri muri universite mu mwaka wa 4.
Iyi ngiyi yacu?
Oya, niga muri Maine Bates College.
In Germany?
No,
Maine,
in US. Nashaka gutanga igisubizo ku kibazo cy'ibiyobyabwenge. Nuvaga ubumwe twashira, okay, let me speak in English. One of the ways I thought could be used to address the problem of drugs in Rwanda among youth could be establishing facilities in schools and in hospitals that can be go-to places for people who are facing problems in their life. Because usually one of the leading causes of people to go in drugs is because they're facing other problems that might make them just resolve to taking drugs as one way of forgetting their problems.
Other problems, I think there are, because there are those who are facing other problems, let's say from poor families.
Yes.
There are actually others who face problems because they come from rich families.
Yes.
So, so I find it works with rich or poor families.
Okay, so let me specify those problems. So if you are facing any, especially the youth, we face different challenges. So you might face a problem of your identity, whether you're poor or you're rich, and you need someone to go to. Sometimes your family is not there. Sometimes you don't have anyone to go to. So if there is those facilities in the schools you're going to, let's say counselors, someone you think you can basically tell your problem, and maybe they can give you advice. That way you won't resolve to problems like drugs.
I completely agree. That's a process that, among other things, can be applied to actually deal with the problem. And I agree with that. We can find a way to create either centers or institutions or, to take care of that. But also what I was emphasizing from the beginning, can we put more effort in trying to save those who are not yet affected?
Yes, so basically that's one way of helping those who are not yet affected. So if someone is having a problem at school and they have those facilities at their school, and they can go to them and be like, I have a problem at home, maybe my family is poor, or maybe I have this challenge, how can I overcome it? That way they won't basically give up and just give up on life and then go to things like drugs.
So you said you study in Maine.
Yes.
Maine, I first understood it as Mainz, which is in another place. But are there things we can learn from, for example, in that area in the United States? Because some aspects can also be helpful. We can and create our own, but getting pieces of things that work from different places might actually be helpful if we integrate that. And my friend, why don't you stop your conversation and we listen to what is being discussed? I mean, you pay attention. You've been having a conversation. You are not listening to what others are saying. Minister, umwana ukwicaye iruhande umubwire baduha attention. Nibyo twahereyeho kandi twavuze ngo just pay attention. So I think I get your point. And we can work to create institutions, to create processes to actually understand, to get to the bottom of the different causes, first of all, or situations that lead people to taking on drugs. And then we see how to, undercut that with some help, with some assistance, both for prevention and even for management of those who have been affected. That's very pertinent. Who else? Can we go some other place maybe?
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika mutwemere hejuru ngira ngo dushaka kuba twabaniganya ijambo.
Sure.
Ngira ngo tubafashe. Mwihutishe kandi murase ku ntego. Ara hejuru.
afternoon. My name is Benita Oruhisho, and we have two questions. The first is, what efforts are being made to provide for affordable housing? So as we open like the borders, there's a lot of young professionals coming in the country and students, and one of the biggest challenge they're facing is finding affordable housing and apartments. Second, as your role as president of the AU, we know you have a vision for the continent. So what message do you have for countries that are lagging behind in terms of allowing free movement and free trade? Thank you.
Affordable housing. So who is in housing here? I know there is something being done. I just want to help. Nobody? Where are these people of infrastructure? What do you do in infrastructure? Can you tell us about housing briefly? Briefly for... We want affordable housing.
Munyemereye nkora muri transport ntago nabasha kudusubiza.
So who is in housing? Before we are housed in the buses and... But Hatejeka, you want to say something?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Indeed, there's a lot that is being done in affordable housing. First of all, it's an opportunity for investment. Government has put in incentives. There is an affordable housing fund that supports both developers and homeowners, especially young professionals who are owning their first house. So a number of projects are already on the ground. There are a number of others that are being erected by foreign investors. For example, there is a big project in Ndera of 1,700 units, which is going to be very affordable. There's another one in Chinyinya that is coming up. There's another one. So there are many, and these opportunities are open for you to register and take up your next unit when they are ready.
So you got that? The second about AU and free movement. And you see, the best message you can deliver to any people is to start with yourself and maybe set the example of what is possible. So what we've done on the African continent, Rwanda is the one that started by allowing people to move freely from whichever country of our continent to Rwanda without any impediment. We've done that. So we wanted to show what is possible. Before we complain about people not moving freely, and we made sure that we ourselves are allowing people to move freely, meaning people coming to us should find it easier to travel to Rwanda. So we cleared that, and then we insisted on the conversation that we should actually allow Africans to move freely, do business, do all kinds of things they wish to do. And then we have seen more Africans actually do that. There are many Africans who are allowing free movement of people. And later on, we have, as you are aware, last time, we had a meeting here which allowed a creation of an African free trade area. So Africans will trade with each other, will move from one place to another with ease, which was not the case before. But we started by setting the example ourselves, and that is already taking place, and that is the best way we can communicate the importance of free movement and integration and free trade and so on.
Twakira ikindi kibazo hara hejuru urase ku ntego kandi tugana ku musozo.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Patricie Karangwa. Mu rwego rwo guteza imbere urubyiruko ku bijyanye n'ubutaka, nasabaga ko ku bijyanye n'ubutaka bwo guturwamo, aho bavuga imyaka 3 kuba umuntu yamaze gushyira inyubako iberanye n'igishushanyo mbonera, ko bitabangamiye inyungu z'igihugu habaho gufasha urubyiruko hakongerwaho umwaka umwe cyangwa 2 kugira ngo n'urubyiruko rubashe kugira inyubako zibereye mu mpande zitandukanye z'igihugu.
Warabibaza usanga kongeraho umwaka umwe cyangwa 2 bifasha iki in real terms?
Murakoze. Nicyo navugaga nuko mu gufasha urubyiruko kugira ngo rugire inyubako zigezweho, nuko umuntu kugira ngo abone ikibanza ashobore no kuba yahashyira inyubako ibereye, hari igihe bigorana ku rubyiruko, ariko bitabangamiye inyungu z'igihugu uwo mwaka umwe byo birashoboka ko byashoboka.
Umwaka umwe ushobora kuba ntacyo wakongera cyangwa imyaka 2, ariko ahubwo maybe icyakorwa n'abakomeza 3, ariko noneho umuntu agashaka uko afasha, kandi uburyo bumwe bumaze burahari, ngira ngo bumwe na hategeka yabivuze, hari uburyo buhari bumwe bushobora gufasha abantu, noneho kuba wabibona no muri iyo myaka 3 ahubwo bitagombye ku 4, uko 4 gusa cyangwa 5 nta bindi wakoze bishobora kuba nk'3.
Murakoze.
Ariko point yawe numva ifite akamaro, ni ukuvuga ngo twakora iki kugira ngo dufashe abantu biborohere kubona.
Icyo nifuzaga nasabaga nuko hari igihe urubyiruko ruba rufite ibyo bibanza, hanyuma bakaba bavuga ko ashobora kucyamburwa cyangwa se kuba cyarwa, nubwo cyahabwa undi cyangwa se abashobora kukibyaza umusaruro mu nyungu z'igihugu, ko nizo nifuza cyane, ariko n'uwo muntu kuko yigeze gufata amafaranga ye n'umwanya wo gutekereza kuba yagira icyo kibanza akaba yagiramo inyungu. Murakoze.
Ariko gushyiraho a bit of pressure birafasha, ntibibe speculation. Abantu bafata ibibanza azi ngo nta nubwo ashaka kubaka, ahubwo ashaka kuzagicuruza ku bashaka kubaka, kugira ngo rero nyine ugabanye uwo murego w'abantu bashaka kubikoresha nabi, ubaha igihe bagomba gukoramo ibyo bakora, kuko hari nubwo bagenda bavuga ibyo bashaka gukora cyangwa bavuga ko bagiye kubaka atari nabyo. Niyo mpamvu icyo gihe kigomba gutangwa kugira ngo tugatandukanya ikintu cyo gufasha abantu kugira ngo bashobore kubona aho kuba, no kugira ngo ubutaka dufite kandi bukeya bushobore gukoreshwa neza. Ngira ngo ikibazo cyawe gihe numva cyangombwa ni ugufasha abantu bashaka kubaka kugira ngo babone uko bashobora kubaka, kurusha kubafasha kugumana ubutaka baba bahawe niyo ntacyo baje bubukoresha.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, kugira ngo mutwemerere tugana ku musozo, twafata ikindi kibazo cyangwa 2.
Ngira ngo hano nabonye bahaye mikoro hariya, gira vuba.
Murakoze cyane. I'm very happy with the development that is happening in Kigali. Cleanliness here, corruption-free environment, social activity, and all those things. I have a small question.
Can you please say your names, introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Dr. Revat, myself working as a staff in University of Rwanda School of Dentistry. So I'm from India, and my question is straight and small and little selfish. So I just want to ask, if we want a similar change in a bigger country like India, so what actually is required? Now it is very clear that Rwanda is a role model country and you are a role model leader. We have a leader like you, but apart from leadership, what else is required to have the changes what we see in Rwanda to be seen in bigger countries like India? Thank you.
Yeah. Once you have a good leader, that's a very good start. And India has a good leader. For India, the second thing is India has a very big population, over 1 billion, maybe 1.2 billion people. That's a big challenge, but it is a wonderful opportunity. And that means you have also a lot of resources. Well, depending on the structures of India's society or the state and how it manages this big population, therefore, we are talking about organization, how would you organize yourselves, depending on things that are specific to India, of course, like any other country. So you have good leadership, the next is organization. The third is how do you make good use of the enormous resources you have. India are not leaders only in a big population, they are leaders in technology, they are leaders in many things. So you can, these are all good resources to use for the advancement of India beyond where it is. So I'm sure the good leader you have, Prime Minister Modi, is in a good place to make a turnaround for India to move another step forward.
Murakoze. Kadufate ikindi kibazo hariya.
Murakoze, amazina yanjye nitwa Kimani Dieudonné, nkaba ndi umuyobozi w'abantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu mu Rwanda. Hari ikibazo dufite gikomeye kijyanye n'ubuzima. Abantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu mu Rwanda bakenera amavuta barinda izuba. Ayo mavuta ku bijyanye n'amategeko twishimira intambwe yatewe kuko bavuga yuko igikoresho cyose kigiye gufasha abantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu kinjira nta misoro. Ariko kubera amavuta afite propriété ebyiri, ya mbere yo kugira abantu beza n'abantu badafite ubumuga bw'uruhu bashobora kuyakoresha, ya kabiri yo kurinda izuba cyane cyane ku bantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu, ayo mavuta yinjira asoze bigatuma agera mu gihugu ahenze. Twebwe icyifuzo cyacu ni uko amavuta arinda abantu bafite ubumuga bw'uruhu yaboneka mu gihugu kandi ku giciro kiri affordable, byibura wenda buri munyamuryango akaba yabasha kwigurira kuri mutuelle de santé ku buryo babasha kwirinda n'imyenda ariko hatabasha. Ibyo ndemeranya nawe kandi bigomba gukorwa, nta mpamvu yo kubitindaho, hakwiye no kujyaho uburyo bw'umwihariko bwo kubyorohereza ahubwo abafite ubwo bumuga. So ibyo ndumva bigomba gukorwa. Minister Kaboneka, communicate it to your colleagues, the right people, and I want that problem resolved as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Loretta Mugabo, and I have a question on the ease of jobs, of the ease of jobs in here.
Okay.
Yes.
See you.
Yes. On the ease of jobs that the youth can get. So basically, when we come here, it's really hard to get jobs. If you don't have connections, it's technically hard to get them.
Connections? What do you mean? It sounds very bad to me.
Yes.
It's something
I've heard a lot.
Yes, please, go ahead, but I want more explanation about that.
Yes, I've heard a lot about students who come from abroad and
Sorry, about?
Students who come from abroad and just basically sit with their degrees because they can't easily get jobs. It's all about like if you have a connection in this institution or in that institution, or
But
even abroad
connection
as well.
of what kind? Because
A connection of someone recommending
of
you.
a friend or a
Yes,
relative.
of a friend or a relative.
Is
And
that real?
It is.
Is that real?
Sometimes, yes.
Can I have an example? Yes, please. I wanted to know. Yes. People are saying yes, but I want examples.
It actually
So
happens.
that we put it, we put it right, knowing what is in there.
On top of my head, my older sister, who graduated from the University of Kansas,
Yes.
sat here for about
What did she qualify in?
She did business, ICT and business
Uh-huh.
together, and sat here for about 1.5 years. And
Sat?
Yes.
Really?
Until my mom had to pull a few strings, ask a few people.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Can we understand each other a bit? Two things. Did she make an effort? Did she apply?
She did.
Yes. Where?
Of course, of course.
Because I want to take it up with those who don't reply or give. So she applied. Where did she apply?
She applied to different institutions, I don't remember which, but until she
For a
recently-
job?
Yeah, until she recently applied to RDB and
Sorry?
RDB,
Uh-huh.
but they had to like pull a few strings as well.
Well, I think sometimes pulling strings may come before an effort is made.
But basically, what I'm trying to say, even
Yes.
abroad, there are people who can't come until they know they're sure. So I just wanted to know if they can reach out to the embassies where they are and say, hey, here, I have a degree, I've worked here for at least a few years.
I think
is there a way in Rwanda that I can go to? Or is there a place you can post me so that I can go back to my country and work there?
Or do you know that only if I stated it? Otherwise, embassies actually do that, and that's what they're supposed to do.
Or here as well, is there a place where we can come back with our degrees, sit down, or any organization, and everyone just gives their degrees and
Isn't
says, here,
it,
can you
you
post
tell us, is it there? And the other problem is, before you explain, you are talking about people having to wait there to know whether they'll come and find a job.
Exactly.
The unfortunate thing is that some of those people wait there when they have no job. So that if you are there because you have a job, I can understand. Some people actually, because, and I'm saying this because I have personally handled some issues to do with that. Wherever I've traveled, whether Europe or America, I make time to talk to some of our young people and ask them what they are doing. I say, some of them tell me they have finished school. I say, what are you doing? They tell me they haven't got a job yet. Then I say, why don't you come home? They say, no, but at home we hear, or if we come, we shall have no job. Then I say, but what is the difference? You are here with no job, but at home, it might be easier to be having no job and you look for it and get it. Because I was maybe erroneously thinking that our system here can be increasingly efficient to actually connect people who have qualifications with jobs. But that doesn't seem to always be the case. But I want to correct this notion. People staying outside with no jobs should not wait to say, I have to get a job in Rwanda in order to come back. Unless you are saying there is a difference staying out, having no job, and staying in the country having no job, or that is better. So we need to resolve that problem. So,
Thank
Minister, we want our young people who finish school to get jobs when they come back. What is the process?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Our role is to build the capacity of the young students. And after graduation, we are working with various institutions in the country, RDB, and other institutions to link those who have qualified to job opportunities. We have a database so far of 560 students who have studied outside the country, and we have over 127,000 who have been supported to study
to get jobs.
Supported to study, and we have already 36% of those who we can identify through their IDs so that they are linked to job opportunities. Mm-hmm. The challenge which we have had is that we have not had students in terms of true identifiers of those who have not got job opportunities at the moment. So we have a database and we are trying to find out those who do not have jobs so that we link them to job opportunities at the moment.
At least connect them with the job.
So they can come to us. We have a wide technical team from various institutions, and we are working out to support them. So they should come to us, and we are available to support them wherever there are opportunities.
Yeah, but make that process known to everybody so that people can make informed choices of what they need to do. But it's a bit complicated. We definitely have to increase the possibility for people to get jobs. That's the primary responsibility. That's the most important. That's the number one. But at the same time, people also need to be pursuing things that increase their chances of getting jobs, knowing what kind of jobs that are here or jobs that actually are underserved where they can easily find a place. Here I'm trying to say there isn't automaticity. There is nothing automatic that when I have finished my first degree, business administration, I will come and I must find a job. Because you don't dictate to jobs like that, or to employers. You don't say, no, this one finished the degree in the business administration in the United States, you must give her or him a job. Things don't happen like that. Actually, you may find there are 10, 6 find a job, the other 4 are waiting, isn't it? Yes. So we have to look at all these angles with the aim of making it easier for people to find jobs. This is why I'm saying even in the bigger markets, even job markets like United States or Europe or Canada, wherever, this is why I said some of the people may finish universities and actually don't find jobs. All right? So I received it with a sort of bad taste if it is happening, it is terrible. It should stop. To think that the only missing or the only problem is that you have to get a connection to a job. This is bizarre. It can't be a way of doing things.
My understanding, Your Excellency, is that people compete and they get jobs when they demonstrate the right skills and get the jobs not because of connections.
Well, I hope it's not the case, but I also hope there are no grounds by which that impression is created. And we are maybe taking a very serious problem we are discussing, trying to find a solution for, and trivializing the effort to actually address it. That statement trivializes the effort of dealing with a very serious problem, which is that one of finding jobs. So I think leaders, we can try and find a way of dealing with the matter.
I understand, Your Excellency.
Yes. What else?
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, kugira ngo tubashimire tugana ku musozo mutwemereye.
Okay, I think I'm
ibibazo byinshi bihari. Ntekereza ko nk'intore tuzakomeza kugenda tubishakira ibisubizo.
Thank you very much. Mwakoze cyane.
Mwifashe dushimire Perezida wa Repubulika ku mwanya duhaye.